Cześć, to ja Andrzej. It's me again. You know what? My first thought after all day long with KTM 1290 Super Adventure S is that this bike is not for idiots. I have to say, I had many thoughts before a press launch, and I wasn't a big fan of previous 1290. It was some kind of way I didn't feel it. This time, when I saw press release pictures, my first thought was like, maybe this is direction of KTM 990 SMT, one of the best bikes built by the man. And it looks like we have now the next generation of this kind of approach, because this bike is basically made by maniacs for maniacs. I did stunt riding for so many years. I was riding sport bikes for so many years. And I was being idiot for so many years. But at some point, you want to make it easier, or maybe you want to get it more comfortable. Because I've noticed many of my friends from old times, they stopped riding bikes because they didn't feel comfortable anymore on the sport bikes, or they just swapped for the scooters. And this kind of adventure bike is, I think, made for all the people who are searching for adrenaline for all their life when they were younger. And now they can have all this adrenaline, all this ultimate way of riding in really comfortable mode. So what happened that 1290, the new 1290 Super Adventure S is so better than the previous one? Maybe because it's 90% new. First of all, what I love the most is the new suspension. The first semi-active suspension from WP was like, let's say, good enough. This one seems to be perfect. First of all, they changed the valving. Now it's magnetics, some kind of magnetic valves. So they work way faster. They have less parts, so they will not break down. They are way more precise. So in the end of the day, you basically don't feel how the suspension works, that it changed any kind of settings. You just feel constant, huge amount of grip. It's funny because you remember back in the days when you were approaching the corner, you were thinking, okay, will my tire grip when I brake into the corner? Then in the middle, you were afraid how much I can lean into the corner. And then exiting, you have to be careful with the throttle not to make a high side. Right now, you don't think about it anymore. You just push the bike how hard you can, brake how hard as you can. You can lean the bike while braking really hard because you have this cornering ABS, and then everything you think about is like how fast you can go through this corner, and then you realize you could go even faster. And this is really intimidating and at some point really scary, because you look at the speedo and it's mental how fast this bike goes. It can do it because of the new weight distribution. You have to know that the bike is pretty much the same weight level than the previous model, but it has some extras like new Euro 5 catalytic converters, blah blah blah. But they saved weight in the engine, in the plastics, in many points. That's how they were able to keep the weight in the same level. But the tanks are new. They go on the right and left side. They have 10 liters here, 10 liters here, 3 liters here, I think. So the mass is lower, it's centralized. So in the same time, the bike handles way better than the previous model. Also, steering head is closer, and the geometry is way more sharper. So you sit more on the front wheel, so you have more control, you have more feedback. For example, you know, when you ride BMW GS, it sticks so much, it goes so well, but you never know, you never get a feeling from the tires. Here it goes in the same way, but you get a feedback from front and the back. I was afraid that it's not going to be stable anymore in the fast corners, but also swing arm is longer, so we can imagine that wheelbase is the same, it was moved back, you went forward, so it's same stable as it was, and at the same time it handles way better. Also, engine had to be rotated a little bit, and also that allowed to split the radiators. I'm not sure. We'll have to check it when there's going to be like a decent summer, like 30 degrees plus, how it's going to handle. But maybe this is the first time when someone solved the problem with heat. There's a big chance that all the heat from radiators will go out these directions, and fingers crossed, it's not going to boil my main parts anymore. I'm really sure that the battle for top power, like peak horsepower, is over. Multistrada is 10 has 10 horsepower more, but in the end, it's all about torque. And as I talk with engineers, I think they will never give more power to Super Adventure. They will fight for even more torque, because in the end of the day, you just use this. I don't know how many times I reached the top power of this bike, because you don't have to rev it. You just use this low and medium range, and it goes like it goes. It's mental. It's just mental. I even tried to accelerate once without electronic aids, and basically I told the guys that this bike is really slow, because it's impossible to keep the front wheel on the ground till fourth gear. So basically you try to accelerate it, it goes up, and you have to close the throttle. So everyone will pass us at this moment. So traction control, wheelie control, they just work. And if you know how to use them, you can perfectly live with it, because in the end of the day, I was using rally mode, which doesn't interrupt when you do wheelies. You cannot do really long wheelie with it. It will interrupt at some point, but exiting the corner, hitting the gas, having still traction control on, you are really confident, and then it goes on the back wheel, drops down, then you have ABS in off-road mode, so you can hit the gears down, hit the rear brake, try to slide a little bit. This bike behaves like a big supermoto, really big supermoto. It's like, I think it's twice the weight of my bike, of my supermoto bike, but it doesn't handle twice as bad. You know what I mean. What I love in this bike is the gearbox. I think this is one of the best gearboxes you can buy, if not the best one you can find in the adventure bikes. It is made by Punk. You know, this company makes parts for F1. They made some crazy expensive parts for the engines. So they make this gearbox. Arm drum, you know what I mean? It's made right now from aluminium. It rotates so easily. It works with quick shifter up and down so easily that you don't even think about it. You just smash this gear lever, and every time the gear is in. Even on the back wheel, just like you go out of the corner, second or third gear, hit the gas, it goes with the gas, and then you just hit another one. So it goes so easily. It's so easily that you cannot believe it. At the same time, because of the engine is so light, there are new pistons and all the rotating masses are so low, this engine is perfectly manageable, especially with this throttle and fuel injection, that back in the days it was impossible to make a slow wheelie so easily with a big twins, because big twins also, you know, always were like, you know, you will learn Polish right now, szarpały. That's it. Now I was doing a slow wheelie with a rear brake on the throttle, and it was so easy to manage. So this bike, like, I don't know how they made it, but at the same time it connects this, you know, total madness, it's total animal, but in the same time you can control it so easily. It will just do whatever you want if you can do this. But if you can't, just take this bike on the racetracks often and try it. And try it with all the electronic aids. Try it more and more and more. And then you can learn how to go really freaking fast and exciting on that kind of bike. There's one problem. We're talking about this today, where you should use it in that kind of way, because in most of the European countries you will just lose your driving license, go to jail, etc. Only way to survive is because of the ACC. So you have a radar and you just switch on the cruise control. It keeps the distance with the vehicle in front. So this is the basically a good approach, like in if you want to go to the super stage, let's say, somewhere. And you go easily through the countryside, through the villages, with your friends or behind some kind of cars. I trusted it like that because I use it in my car, and I know the systems that they can work differently, but this one is really awesome. They told me that 35,000 man hours took to develop this with Bosch, 2.5 years. I was afraid that if we're going to go to the tight corner and the bike in front of me will disappear, the bike will start to accelerate heavily, but no, if it's leaned, it will not accelerate hard. It will keep the speed. So another feature which just works. Everything in this bike works so well that I just cannot believe it. It's a problem because everyone will tell me that KTM paid me. These bikes are as good as I tell you, and as good as you see on the videos. Even new TFT is awesome. At least now you can understand all the settings. It was so hard on the previous models to understand them. Now you have images like in Ducati, so even if you don't know menu language, it's so easy to understand. Electronic drawback is the app. You have GPS navigation on the bike included with the My Ride app. The drawback is that you cannot upload your own routes like TET routes, or you cannot plan them on your computer. You have to do it on the app. So that's the thing they need to work on. The buttons plus minus for cruise control, they are like adaptive cruise control. This is the name. They're okay, but the minus is like far away. That's all. That's all drawbacks I can have. I found on this bike. Seat, you can adjust the seat as you want. You have 11 different seats. You can adjust pegs, everything. If you want more, I will do it. But it's not free. We are raising money for Nina. She's fighting with a cruel disease. We need to gain money to buy the most expensive med in the world. So if we're gonna make it, believe me, I will make videos for you. You will find the link below. Just put €1, €5, €10, as much as you can. We'll sort this out. Thanks. Cześć.